there that's watching is that, I said, I was kind of tough on you, and it's all out of love because I want you to be successful. I don't want you to get hurt. And what most people don't realize outside of the training area is that horse that's standing in front of you that you're moving is a product that's going to follow you for the rest of that horse's life. And if someone gets hurt because we have a hole in the training, specifically to that, because we didn't do a really good job, that can be like, hey, she did that. This is a horse that Taryn trained. So, Taryn doesn't train horses real well. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's true. But so you have to protect yourself and the horse and anybody else in the future that you don't even ever possibly even meet that could get on this horse. And that base training, base responsibility of somebody not getting hurt, it falls upon you. So, and you haven't been on his back yet. We've been up on him on his sides, but that is really a super, super important and a very serious side to training horses that I don't think most people fully understand. People will have a horse that there's something wrong with, and it may not be caused by the trainer. It can be caused by themselves, but guess who they tend to blame? It's not the horse, and it's not necessarily themselves. It's usually themselves last. So I say that for people's benefit, and I know we talked about this, I think, a year ago when we first started with this conception, that how important and how serious this is as far as a product and what you do and how you'll touch people that you'll never meet through that horse. So the horse has got to be as sound as absolutely possible. And I didn't anticipate necessarily that he would react quite the way he did on some of the training. I thought, or on some of the exercises, I thought he was going to be better, especially with the ropes, because he had done so well that when you started flipping the rope around a little bit and then he ran off on a smaller corral, which, we talked about a couple of times before. So, well, this is really kind of a big corral for this. We really need that small corral. Sometimes you have to experience that failure. And when I saw that happen, I thought, well, we could stop this right now and say, no, we need to do that. But I thought in my own head at the time, I thought, you know what, let's go ahead and do this. And if it fails, which it looked like to me like it would, then it has for you a frame of reference so that you learn. And I know your hand got the rope ripped through it a couple times. I hope it didn't hurt too much. I know it's a rope burn is a rope burn, but experiential learning, not only for the horse, all of their learning is experiential. And some of yours is, I can tell you, like we're doing now, what's going on, and have you do that, and you can be successful or, marginally successful, depending on how much finesse it takes to do it. But sometimes that experiential learning has to just take place, even if and a lot of times that learning really takes precedent and really it gets ingrained if it is a failure, kind of like it was. So I needed to kind of let you fail a little bit, and I'm not trying to be mean to you or for the viewers that that we're not having some kind of an issue with each other. It's a matter of this is a learning moment that isn't necessarily all positive, because it will happen. Anyway, that's my long deal about kind of a frame of reference of where we were last week and why we were at where we were, and kind of let people know that you saw what you saw, because this is not scripted. You and I are doing this in real time, and so at those moments I'm not going to stop everything necessarily. It's like, okay, she can learn from this, and that's part of me being kind of the hard heart and let you fail a little bit, but you will learn from that. Oh, good job. I see you running up to it. Excellent. So
I think it helps a lot for me to, like you're saying, to experience it, see it, feel the frustration, some fear and heightened anxiety, and then realize that I've allowed that to happen, and now I really know what I need to do. And just drove you home, and I wouldn't say that you were being mean, but maybe you felt that way. But I sometimes you need some blunt blunt truth sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. I saw a quote by somebody. It was just the other day. It says that everybody appreciates honesty until it's directed towards them. Then you're just a jerk, But no, and I think it's important that folks understand that, again, this is not scripted. This is something that we can't script, and that's part of the beauty of this. And it's a learner for all of us. But for you to do that and me kind of thump on your ego a little bit like this, and we've all got an ego. We try not to let it interfere, but it's very brave of you to do this, and I cannot stress enough how important that is and how much I appreciate that, because I've been where you're at. It's not fun to be in front of an audience and things not work well. You always want them to work right and well, but sometimes those things are as big or better of a learner for you or the horse or everybody than as if it went perfectly.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Well, he's doing better now, and I've tried something different the other day with the rope. Instead of saddling him, I just used the rope on his halter.
Okay.
And that may or may not be the right thing to do, but I felt like it just gave me that little extra control, that extra edge, and then I think it probably helped me more than it helped him, but made me feel a little bit more comfortable that I had control of his head, and I think it was easier to drive home the lesson and what we were doing and what I wanted of him, because he didn't have as big of an opportunity to just take off.
Okay. And I appreciate where you're at there, and I think part of that was mainly on, correct me if I'm wrong, a little bit of trying to prevent any frustration or trying to stop something before it happens. And you're right, you'll have more physical control, but you won't necessarily have the mental control that you've got on him, because he knows, I'm not going anywhere. Hey, could you do something for me?
Yeah.
Okay. I see you're at his head there. Could you step back halfway between the saddle and him? There you go. Stop right there. Go forward about 2 steps. Okay, now step to the left, about 1.5 steps. And there you go. Okay, now turn 90 degrees to the right. Okay. How far away are we from each other?
Well, now we're right next to each other.
Right. Okay. Here's my point. You complied absolutely with every request I made right there, and I'm not there to do that.
Oh, I see. You and I.
How much control did I have over your movement?
Every bit of control.
Every bit, because you're listening and you're willing to help and do what I ask. Okay, so if I would have went to you and was standing outside the corral and walked in there and grabbed you by the shoulders, and then moved you physically without you really resisting, look how much effort I still had to put into that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the difference between having a lead on them, and I'm not saying you did anything wrong, and I know where you're at with this, because you're just trying to stave off and make things go right, and hopefully he will comply with that, and he did, but you just don't quite have the mental control that you would have, and that's what the training is. The better training, or more higher functioning training, is about. It's about that mental control of them than is the physical control, because again, you're 101 pounds, right? And there isn't anything that you can do to really stop him with his 950 to 1,000 pound body. They can push right through us. So it's about mental control, not so much the physical control. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of where I was at. Yes, there are times when you need to do what you need to do, but don't rely on that. You're going to have to push through the mental part and him not complying in order for you to get really good depth of control there on him. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. So I think let's do just exactly what you're doing. Let's put him through the paces again and see where you were successful this week and what more you needed to work on. This is ultimately, it's a good thing that these things happen because it gives us a chance to fix or to really alter the non-compliance. And you can fix, or when I say fix, I mean solidify the really good training that's going on, the good behavior. Good.
So good boy.
Job. Good job, Tim. You're sticking with it, and you're not letting him get away from you too much. You know, you're not letting him get away halfway around the arena or the corral before you stop and correct him. That's perfect. You're doing really, really well that way.
Good boy. Boy. I think one of the problems that we've ran into is how he's learned to be so comfortable with me and seek comfort and confide in me. And when we started the other day doing the rope exercises again, he was practically it's running off.
Yeah. No.
Practically running me over and throwing his shoulder and, you know, and not respecting my space.
No, that's exactly right. And that's why I think it's, you know, early on when we first started working in the round corral and just doing the turns, and I said, you know, a lot of people just want the horse to turn towards them and not away from them, and I want them to do both. And that's precisely the reason why, is when they get upset and they try to come at you for comfort because they're so used to coming towards you and not away from you, you've got to have that tool in order to be able to send them away. And when you just throwing your hand up like you're doing right there and pushing him, that sends him away. And if you can really get that horse to understand that that's what you want, that's going to keep you safe. And that is exactly the reason for that, because you never know when you have to send a horse away from you in order to keep yourself safe.
So just struggle with these turns on the haunch. I have learned something about Tennessee walkers yesterday.
Okay.
Riding Raz, and how when I'm riding in, we go from a stop to a walk, and he just kind of launches forward. And I just had this really dumb aha moment that they have so much of a stride that it probably feels more like he's launching forward when really he's just taking a normal step. But that's part of why I feel like it's so hard for me to do these turns on the haunch, because he can step so far, I can hardly keep up with him.
Yeah. You know, do you remember it was last fall when you and I took the ride down in the riparian area, and I think you were on Lonza, right?
Yep.
And I believe I said, because I almost always say this with everybody who's fairly new to getting them into gait, is that this horse is going to feel like it's taking off on you because it's going to speed up really fast, and you think it's going to